Well, okay. You know what we're here doing today? We're asking the mayor today. Greensboro Mayor Nancy Vaughan is in studio right now. She's ready to answer your questions. Later, we're going to be talking all about loose leaf pickup here in Greensboro. So you can start sending in your questions for that as well. This is how you send in your question. You text us 336-379-5775. You send in your text question. It's anonymous. The mayor is going to answer. We're going to also talk about loose leaf coming up a little bit later in the next half hour. We're going to get your questions answered. All right, first and foremost, yesterday was a crazy weather day.
It was.
Lots of damage everywhere all over Greensboro. So if people are wondering what's going on with pickup and cleanup and things of that nature.
So our field ops were out today with something called a knuckle boom, where they can pick up large tree limbs. So if you've had a big tree fall on your property and you can cut it to 6-foot lengths, call the city at 373-CITY and they will write a work order and they'll get somebody out to help you get those limbs away.
Okay, and that's one of those things where, you know, like the Christmas tree, it's like 5 feet or something like that, cutting it up. The city's trying to work with folks.
Absolutely, yes. And we know that there was a lot of damage throughout the city, a lot of flooding. As I was driving around today, I could see that our teams were all over, along with Duke Energy. Luckily, we only had about 7,000 power outages. I believe everybody's back on. But yesterday, the amount of rain that we got, it was not so much the amount, but it was the intensity of the rain that we were getting, about 2 inches an hour. And no storm water pipes of any size can handle that sort of an influx, which is why we saw the urban flooding throughout the city.
All right, and you're continuing to work on that cleanup. All right,
yes.
That was the big story yesterday, of course, the big story and what we've been talking about for the last week, but really we're going to be talking about a lot tomorrow is the funeral for Sergeant Nix.
Yes. Tomorrow, 2 o'clock at Westover Church. The public is welcome, but it's first come, first serve. And I know that it will be live streamed. You'll be live streaming it. You know, our sympathies really do go out to his family. I think the outpouring of support has been phenomenal. And I think that shows the type of person he was. The love and admiration is just really indescribable. And, you know, we're going to talk about crime statistics in a little while and the impact that domestic violence has had on our crime stats. And Sergeant Nix worked at the Family Justice Center. He and that team have done amazing outreach to victims of child abuse, elder abuse, domestic abuse, getting them in better places. And I think that is a huge tribute to that whole team and to Sergeant Nix. I did see on social media where a couple women had actually disclosed for the first time that they had been victims of domestic violence and that he helped them, and their families. He is a hero, and we've got a department full of heroes. So tomorrow we will lift up Sergeant Nix and his family in our prayers.
I remember watching the news conference the night that it happened, and you were like right there on the border of crying and angry all at the same time.
I said I was sad and angry, and I'm still sad and angry because it was so incredibly senseless. You know, an 18-year-old kid shooting him over a couple of cases of beer just defies logic in my mind. I don't know how you can lose somebody that young, make them that callous, and 2 other people standing by. You know, it is, I still can't come up with the words.
I understand. And I know this kind of leads into something that you have been talking about quite often every time that you've been here, which are crime statistics.
Yes.
And what the city is doing about crime.
Yes, so we have a lot of different initiatives. You know, we know that we can't police our way out of crime, so that we've done a lot of things besides increasing the salaries. The police department has gotten the biggest salary increase last year than they had gotten in a long time. We start people in the academy at $55,000 with a 4% increase as soon as they graduate from the academy, so that brings them up to about $57,200. But we also have done other things to help supplement the police force.
what we want to do is we want to take a look at some of the graphics that the police department has released. And so we just saw one of them. We can put that same one up again. That one is the numbers that kind of looks everything from 2019 to 2023.
Yes.
And it's interesting to me how a lot of the 2019 numbers are mirroring the 2023 numbers.
Yes, and actually that's a good thing because crime has gone up the last few years. And even if you look at 2021, the number of crimes were 2,611. Then in 2022, 2,445. We're pretty much on level with that. Now, when you look at the homicides, obviously that is what gets all the attention, and it should when there is a loss of life. But when you look at our crime numbers as a total, they really have not moved much at all. We are having a problem in this specific category. And certainly if we knew how to fix it, we would have done it already. There are conversations that we've had with our police department and others, criminal justice, and we really can't explain why there was that increase, that spike. But when you look at all other violent crimes, you could see how it's come down over the last few years and then held steady from last year. So while the homicides have come up, that isn't true for the other categories of crime.
So that is something, and I know you said that there are many initiatives that are going on in the city, but that definitely needs to be pinpointed somewhat to the homicide and murder rates.
Absolutely, and in November they released some statistics that I thought were interesting because what they did was they looked at the victim and the perpetrator, and I believe 21% were domestic violence situations, and then another 52% were people who knew each other. 11% were undetermined. So there were 76% where people knew each other. I think that's important. It shows that typically it's not random. Unfortunately, Sergeant Nix was random. So we do see it still happens in our community, but the police department has done a good job tracking the victims and the perpetrators.
All right, we're going to continue our conversation. What kind of questions do you have for the mayor? You can ask those questions by texting in right now, 336-379-5775. We'll be right back.